Hello, and welcome to my channel. I skipped a week again last week. I said I wasn't going to do that again for a long time, but I have been busy. Cross-country season is just wrapping up, and I am trying to get all psyched and prepped for that. But I did want to film something this week. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter video, but I wanted to talk about nature and running. And not just running outside, I wanted to talk to being connected to nature as a runner, why it's important, and how you can do it. There are so many of us that go out and we run on the roads and we're running in nature, but not really in nature. And I want to talk about the good things that can come from changing that and from incorporating more natural runs into our running routines. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is why. Why is it good to connect to nature as a runner? And there are several different aspects to this that I want to briefly touch on. The first one is mental health. It really is amazing for your mental health. Going outside in general is great for your mental health, but especially if you're not just running around city blocks, if you're actually in nature, in parks and things, which I will get to in a couple of minutes, it can really help your mental health. It also varies your training. Sometimes you'll be running on trails, sometimes it'll be gravel, sometimes it's paved. It really just helps vary up your training, and I find that it's super important to have all surface training, especially for me as a cross-country runner, but I think for everyone you can benefit a lot. It will help keep your stride patterns more consistent, and it will also just make you a stronger runner. Also sunlight. I am recording this in a very sunny room right now, so I can attest the fact that sunlight is a huge motivator. There are so many studies out there that basically say you need the sun. It's really important, and it will help you be motivated. It'll help you perform better. I always feel like I run better when the sun's out. But and honestly, going outside can also be good for that, but especially if you're in nature and the sun is shining, it's just a very beautiful and serene experience, which is what I'm going to get into next, because the last one is it feels more relaxing than your average city run. There's not honking of horns. It's also safer because you're not worried that you're constantly going to be run over, which is always a really nice change of pace, but it is a lot more relaxing. It helps you clear your head, and the fresh air and the sounds of nature are really just amazing. A lot of times when I'm running like in the woods, I find that I don't even want to put my AirPods in like I normally do when I'm running on the road, because there's just so much around me that I want to be taking in all the time. So now I want to talk about how you can connect to nature, because we've established that it's really great to connect to nature, but now I'm going to talk about how you can do that. The first thing is local parks and state parks are also a big thing if you're in the US. My favorite two things to use to find runnable local trails and local parks, because there are of course trails and parks that you really can't run at because you'll just end up flat on the ground. I love to look on Strava and AllTrails. On AllTrails, they usually have you usually have to check the comments of a specific spot to see if people are talking about running it, or they have their rating system that'll tell you how difficult it is, and that can kind of tell you how runnable it might be. And then obviously Strava, it'll either be categorized as hiking or running, and you can kind of see through that. So those are my favorite ways to discover areas to run in nature around me. Another great tip to kind of incorporate it into your consistent training is to dedicate a day of the week where you're going out and you're running in nature. You're going to a park, you're going to this, you're going to that, you're going to the other thing, and you're running in nature. I usually like to do this on the weekends when I have a little bit more time and I can go drive out to somewhere and explore a new area. But it's really great to just dedicate a day of the week. I like to do it on Sundays because it's my little mental reset before the week starts over again. And another great thing you can do is have that also be your hill day, because a lot of trails will have sizable hills. I love to do hill sprints at some of my local parks, and just different types of hill training really go well with a lot of the terrain that you might find. Also, I've always said the difference between a jogger and a runner is how many conditions you will run in. Runners love the rain, joggers hate the rain. And while that is a bit of a generalization, I think it's great to get out despite the weather, go run in the rain. Also, a lot of times it really won't be as bad once you're in the woods because of like trees and cover and stuff. But I love a good rainy run in the woods. I love to get a little bit wet. So that's definitely something that, don't be discouraged just because it's raining. You can still go out and do something amazing. Also, I want to touch on there are a lot and a growing number of clubs and organizations that are focused on park runs, which are like, it's hard to explain, they're like informal races. Usually they take place in parks, hence the name. We don't really have many around where I live, but we do have several clubs that are dedicated to running in nature, usually specific parks or specific areas. So you can definitely look and see if there are any of those in your area. Running with a run club is really such a great thing. It's such a great resource, and it's great to build your sense of community and keep your motivation going. And kind of in contingency with that, thing I said earlier about rain runs, you can also do sunset and sunrise runs, and a lot of those clubs that I talked about that focus on nature, a lot of them will do sunrise or sunset specific runs. I will not lie to you guys, I cannot drag myself out of bed early enough to do a sunrise run, unless it's like late in like winter time, the sun's rising really late. However, I do love myself a good sunset run, especially nowadays, because basically as soon as I get home to do my run, the sun is setting. But especially if they're like wide open park areas that you're going to run in, it's literally just amazing to be there at sunset. Even running on the road in sunrise and sunset, I talked about that in my winter running video. I just love myself a good sunrise sunset run. And moving on to the last thing, I want to talk about goals that you can set to help motivate yourself to get out into nature. The first thing is there's lots of night races, and night races are usually on trails because a night race on the road would be really dangerous. But there's lots of different night races that you can look into and kind of set a goal for that. There's such a unique atmosphere. I literally have always wanted to do one. I haven't done one yet just because I don't have any near me. They're all really far away, but I cannot imagine. I've seen videos and it looks amazing. So you could set your sights on a night race or just set your sights on a trail race. Basically, no matter where you are, there will be trail races near you. We have a couple of really big trail races near us, and every few months I like to set my sights on one of those and focus a little bit more about running in nature and running on trails in preparation for that. So those are just some ideas on why and how to connect to nature as a runner. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!